Frank Costello, a name whispered in fear and admiration, was once dubbed the Prime Minister of the Underworld. He preferred the title of businessman, but his real occupation was far more clandestine. Costello was a powerful mafia boss, leading New York's Luciano crime family during its most prosperous years. His power stemmed not from brute force, but from a keen intellect and a calculated approach to organized crime. Costello recognized the potential of legitimate businesses as fronts for illegal activities and cultivated relationships with politicians, judges, and even Wall Street. Costello's reign marked a shift in the Mafia, from violent street gangs to sophisticated criminal enterprises. He understood that money and influence spoke louder than guns. His story is a fascinating look into the underbelly of American society during a time when organized crime held significant power. Born Francesco Castiglia in 1891 in Calabria, Italy, Costello's early life was far removed from the opulent world he would later inhabit. He immigrated to New York City at the age of 4, settling with his family in East Harlem. The neighborhood was a melting pot of immigrant communities, but also a breeding ground for poverty and crime. Young Francesco, now called Frank, quickly learned the street's harsh realities. He joined his older brother Edward in a life of petty crime. The brothers' activities caught the attention of local gangsters, including the notorious Lucky Luciano. This encounter would change the course of Costello's life, propelling him into the upper echelons of organized crime. The 1920s saw the rise of Prohibition, a period that would solidify Costello's position in the underworld. Alcohol, though illegal, was in high demand. Costello, with his sharp mind for business, saw an opportunity. He forged alliances with bootleggers and rum runners, including Meyer, Lansky, and Bugsy Siegel, who would become his lifelong associates. Costello's strategic brilliance lay in recognizing the importance of logistics and distribution. He established an intricate network that smuggled liquor from Canada and the Caribbean, making vast profits in the process. His bootlegging empire extended its reach across the East Coast, making him a wealthy and influential figure in the underworld. This era honed Costello's skills as a leader and strategist, earning him the respect of fellow gangsters and laying the foundation for his future dominance in the Mafia. Costello's success was not solely due to his business acumen. He could be ruthless when necessary. He understood that violence, though a last resort, was sometimes the only language understood in his world. He had a hand in many gangland killings during the Castellammarese War, a bloody power struggle that reshaped the Mafia. Costello, however, preferred diplomacy and negotiation to outright violence. He understood that alliances, even with former enemies, could be mutually beneficial. This pragmatic approach would later become his trademark, setting him apart from his more hot-headed peers. Section 5. Outsmarting the Law, the Kefauver Hearings. In the early 1950s, Senator Kefauver led a highly publicized investigation into organized crime, aiming to expose the Mafia's grip on America. Costello, with his prominent position in the underworld, was subpoenaed to testify. These televised hearings provided a rare glimpse into the secretive world of the Mafia and made Costello a household name. Costello, aware of the potential damage these hearings posed, chose a cunning approach. He refused to answer most questions, invoking his Fifth Amendment rights. However, his calm demeanor and articulate, though evasive, responses captivated the nation. While other mobsters appeared thuggish and inarticulate, Costello came across as almost respectable. Section 6. The Luciano Legacy and the Rise of Costello. The deportation of Lucky Luciano in 1946 created a significant power vacuum in the underworld, leaving many to wonder who would rise to fill the void. Costello, with his proven track record and strategic brilliance, was the natural successor. His ability to navigate the complex world of organized crime made him the ideal candidate. He assumed control of what became known as the Luciano crime family, later renamed the Genovese family, in honor of Vito Genovese, another prominent figure in the organization. Under Costello's leadership, the family expanded its operations beyond traditional rackets like gambling and extortion, venturing into new and more sophisticated criminal enterprises. Costello's vision led them into lucrative ventures such as labor union manipulation, construction, and even vending machines, which provided a steady stream of income. He recognized the importance of legitimate businesses as fronts for illegal activities, further blurring the lines between the underworld and the legitimate world, making it harder for law enforcement to track their activities. Costello's reign marked a period of unprecedented prosperity for the family, as they enjoyed the fruits of their well-orchestrated criminal activities. He became a powerful figure, not just in the underworld, but in the political and business arenas as well, leveraging his influence to protect and expand his empire. His influence extended to judges, politicians, and labor leaders, solidifying his position as the Prime Minister of the Underworld, a title that reflected his unparalleled power and reach. Section 7. Internal strife and the attempt on Costello's life. Costello's power and influence did not go unchallenged. Vito Genovese, a ruthless and ambitious mobster, coveted Costello's position. Genovese, who had been deported to Italy, orchestrated an attempt on Costello's life in 1957. Although the assassination attempt failed, it left Costello shaken. The incident made him realize the precariousness of his position and the ruthlessness of his enemies. It also signaled a shift in the Mafia's power dynamics, with a new generation of gangsters eager to seize control. Section 8. A shrewd exit. Costello's calculated retirement. The attempt on his life forced Costello to confront his own mortality, a stark reminder that even the most powerful are not invincible. He recognized that his grip on power was slipping, and that a new era of violence was on the horizon, one that he was not prepared to face head-on. In a calculated move, he decided to step down as boss, paving the way for Genovese to take control, a decision that was both strategic and inevitable. Costello's retirement marked the end of an era in the Mafia, a significant turning point that would reshape the underworld. He had ruled with a combination of business acumen, political maneuvering, and calculated violence, a blend that made him both feared and respected. His successors, however, would usher in a period of increased scrutiny and internal strife, ultimately diminishing the Mafia's power and influence, a stark contrast to Costello's more controlled reign. Despite his retirement, Costello's influence continued to be felt in the underworld, his legacy enduring through the shadows. He remained a respected figure, sought out for his advice and connections, a testament to his enduring power and wisdom. His story serves as a reminder of the complex and often contradictory nature of organized crime, where power and violence are intertwined with ambition and survival, creating a legacy that is both dark and fascinating. Section 9. The Teflon Don Costello's enduring influence. Costello's ability to evade serious convictions earned him another nickname, the Teflon Don. Despite numerous investigations and arrests, he always seemed to slip through the cracks of the justice system. His connections with corrupt officials, his willingness to bribe and threaten, and his shrewd legal maneuvering allowed him to maintain a veneer of respectability. Costello's influence extended beyond the underworld. He was a close friend of politicians, celebrities, and even a Tammany Hall leader. His story highlights the deep-rooted corruption that plagued American society during this period, where organized crime infiltrated every level of government and business. Section 10. Frank Costello, the last of the old-school Dons. Frank Costello died of a heart attack in 1973, a seemingly peaceful end to a life spent in the shadows. His death marked the end of an era, a time when the Mafia's influence was at its peak. He was one of the last of the old-school Mafia Dons, men who had risen from humble beginnings to become powerful figures. These men were not just criminals, they were icons of a certain kind of American dream, albeit a dark one. Costello's story, however, is more nuanced than that of a typical gangster. He was not just a thug, he was a strategist, a man who understood the importance of alliances and the subtleties of power. He was a complex figure, a ruthless criminal mastermind who valued intelligence and strategy over brute force. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Costello preferred to operate from the shadows, using his wits to outmaneuver his rivals. He recognized the changing dynamics of organized crime, adapting his methods to maintain power and influence. As law enforcement techniques evolved, so did Costello's strategies, always staying one step ahead. Costello's legacy is a reminder that the Mafia at its height was not just a criminal enterprise, but a complex and often invisible force that shaped American society in profound ways. His influence extended beyond the criminal underworld, touching politics, business, and everyday life. His story continues to fascinate, offering a glimpse into a bygone era when the lines between the underworld and the legitimate world were blurred, and men like Frank Costello held the reins of power. The legacy of such figures serves as a testament to the intricate and often dark tapestry of American history.